this is Everyday Expertise, and I'm Angela. And I'm here with Reese De Luca. He is a fashion industry veteran with experience in design, product development, sourcing, e-commerce, marketing, team leadership, and entrepreneurship. He's worked for such brands as William Rast, Buffalo David Bitton, and Point Zero, among others. Launched his own label, Delacommune, in 2014. And as of March 2018, he's acted as creative director for wearable technology company Silverpaw. Welcome.
Hi.
So how did you get started in fashion?
When I was 16, I got a job with a local designer in Montreal, Space FB, François Beauregard, and it kind of was like an interesting experience because I got to see an owner of his own business and who had the creative outlet to kind of do whatever he wanted to do. And I kind of started realizing it was something I was interested in, and it was kind of cool that he named his designs after people, and it was just something that really appealed to me. So he helped me launch my own accessory brand, which I sold at the store, and that was kind of like my first little foray into it, and I knew I wanted to do that.
That's pretty cool. So I was reading a little bit about you, and one of your big breaks sort of came when you met Victoria Beckham.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Well, she's always been an idol of mine. I always thought she was pretty awesome. And when I was living in Los Angeles, I had the opportunity to go to one of her fashion shows. She was designing for Rock and Republic at the time. And after the fashion show, which I sat across her, so that was pretty cool. And I thought that was kind of the extent of my experience, being able to see my idol. And I ended up going into the VIP area, and my friend was like, check out over there, and it looked like it was David Beckham, but it was definitely like a lookalike, and I was like, no, that's not David Beckham. And he's like, no, right next to him, and right there was Victoria Beckham, the real one. And I went up to her, and I tried not to be fanboy, and just to kind of be super designer, professional, I enjoyed your show, you did such a great job. She was pregnant at the time, so she was really sweet, and she literally opened up my jacket and asked me where did I get my shirt, and it said Posh in Bed. And it was a shirt that I had made myself, so I told her it was my own brand, and she said she wanted one, which I was like, okay, yeah.
I can see how that would appeal to her.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, that would be awesome. So her security took my info, we traded numbers, and the next day they called me and told me Victoria, I couldn't stop talking about your shirt, and let's get this going. So it was the start of a little relationship, and she ended up wearing my stuff multiple times, and yeah, that was kind of my big break.
Pretty awesome, yeah. So you had your own label, Delacommune.
Yeah.
And it's not active anymore, really.
No, we closed it at the end of 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you believe you've learned from the experience of running your own label?
It's a lot more hard work than people expect. A lot of people think the fashion industry is kind of glamorous because you do get to do cool things like fashion shows and photo shoots and traveling and stuff, but there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of it just takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot more money than someone would expect to launch a brand and to maintain it, because if you're trying to play with the big people, you have to do the same shows they're doing. So, it taught me, I think, how to do it on a smaller scale next time, and maybe to be a little bit more resourceful, because when you have money, you tend to spend it a bit more. Yeah. So, it was a great experience, and it's definitely something I want to do again, but I right now need to reboot. And
to prepare a little more,
Exactly.
It's cool. Okay, so this show is very much about process.
Okay.
So can you walk me through maybe your own personal process when you're maybe working on a design?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of an iPad, the Apple Pencil, so I do a lot of hand sketching. I usually always start with kind of fabric inspiration or color inspiration, and just kind of starting with that, and then starting to see where the fabric brings me, or what it inspires me to do. And then it's a lot of hand sketching before you do a really nice computer sketch, super clean, front and back and detailed. And then it's usually off to a pattern maker, fabric sample maker, and then you have your kind of finished concept. It's actually a really rewarding process, because sometimes when I'm living in LA, within 2 days you could have an actual physical representation of what was just a scribble.
That's pretty cool.
So it's an amazing feeling.
So who would you say are your major influences, fashion-wise?
Well, love Victoria Beckham.
Of course,
Obviously,
yeah.
it was just pretty awesome for her to like actually become a fashion icon now and someone who's like actually known for her designs. But I like Rick Owens a lot. He's another American but European designer.
Right.
I really like clean lines, minimalism, and I'm not really so much into the trends. So like a brand more like Prada appeals to me because it's very clean and sleek versus a brand like or a designer for Gucci because
Right.
it's very like crazy and over the top and very trend driven every season, and I'm
Right.
more into like minimalist and something that in 4 seasons you take it out of your wardrobe and it's still
useful.
still relevant,
Yeah.
it's still useful, it doesn't look like you're wearing something outdated. So yeah, I think like Anne de Meulemeester is another really amazing European designer and has some like really sleek lines, and I think a lot of the Europeans, any of the European designers are a lot more influential to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, what is something you wish you'd known about fashion design before you embarked on this journey?
Oh, okay. You know, there's a lot of people in the industry who have made it, but not maybe didn't necessarily make it for hard work. Because there's a lot of nepotism, or it's like in fashion,
Yeah.
like some other industries, it's about who you know. So
Yeah.
sometimes,
Well, pretty much every creative industry.
yeah,
is like
every
that.
creative industry, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't really deserve what you have. So I wish I was better prepared to maybe deal with people like that, because I've always been kind of a sensitive person. And for me, fashion and design, I'm very passionate about it. So whenever I've gotten a job, I've been really into it, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, like in the office, because I'm really eager, and these people are threatened by maybe someone who else has come in. So I wish I had known more how to deal with people like that.
Right.
But I mean, it's an industry that you have to kind of be on your toes, and you know, you just have to adapt.
Yeah.
No matter what. So, because they don't teach you what you actually need to know in school. You know, like it's just like an experience. You have to experience it.
I think that makes sense, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in pretty much any sort of situation, any kind of industry, what school teaches you is the skills, but then there's the social skills that you kind of have to absorb through experience.
Yeah. I guess I never realized that like office politics is kind of like high school drama, you know? Like, so I never realized that even though you get out of high school, like
you don't get out of high school.
Yeah, it's always the same thing, you know, and like there's no way you could find a job where there's no office politics. So it's just about learning how to deal with that, you know, and it's just like as an adult.
All right. How do you integrate your creative work into your daily life?
Well, I read Women's Wear Daily, which is like, for instance, like the Financial Times for the fashion industry. So I read that every morning so that I'm kind of like in the know, and it kind of gives me some ideas. Sometimes I'm reading like articles that like influence me. They're talking about the new color of the year or the new trends or whatever. So that's kind of like how I keep up with it. Yeah, I think that's probably like, there's that, and then I'm a big people watcher. You know, I read a lot of blogs, so I always try to see, especially in the fashion industry, like you kind of have to know, even if you don't want to do something really trendy, you have to know what's going on. You have to know like what the young kids like. Oh, I can't believe I said that. You have to just know like what's on trend.
Sorry,
and,
we're not the young kids anymore,
no,
unfortunately.
I know. But like, you know, it's like the Snapchat generation, millennials is like, it's my job to like know all about that stuff. So sometimes it takes a lot of like research and a lot of like keeping up with that.
Do you find like work-life balance easy, or is it just like work is life?
Work is life.
Yeah.
Well, like especially when it comes to like my own personal designs, because if you're like inspired by something, like you'll flip open your iPad and you'll start sketching, or you'll start like thinking like, oh, I have an idea, let me write it down, let me start fleshing it out. Like it doesn't feel like work, you know. So, but if it's, you know, maybe my boss doesn't want to hear it, but if it was like not my own personal work, then then there's like, you don't want that to bleed into your personal life, because it's like your time is precious. But when it's for yourself, then like it just it feels amazing that you could have these like creative ideas, like so yeah.
So, favorite aspect of fashion design?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's been really cool working with some celebrities, like for instance, but that's maybe a little bit more superficial. It's just really amazing to be able to come up with an idea and like have a concept and then design it and have a physical representation of it, and then having other people react to it as well. Because I mean, art is subjective, right? And I know
Yeah.
that fashion is a business, but it's also like an art for me, like it's an art form. So when I could do something that's maybe a little out there, but then other people see it and they're like, wow, that's really cool, or like, I would love to wear that. Like, that's a pretty amazing feeling, you know? And I think like that's a feeling that I really enjoy, and that's something that I got out of fashion. So I guess that's my favorite thing, is be able to inspire the people, and like when people wear something and they feel good, like that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not saving lives, but like I'm making someone like look in the mirror and feel good about themselves, and like that's a really good experience, because fashion or what you're wearing could really change your attitude and the way you feel, and that's pretty cool.
And that's important too.
Yeah, that's important too. Like, I'm saving fashion lives. So yeah, I mean, but the travel has been awesome too. Like, I've got, like, in the last 4 years, I've gone to Portugal, I've shown in Paris, in London, Colombia, Shanghai. So it's been a really cool opportunity, cool. And I'm meeting lots of cool people, and it's cool to meet other passionate people who are also like in it to kind of just like further what they're doing, you know?
So, least favorite aspect of fashion? Anything that frustrates you?
Yeah, it frustrates me, the amount of copying, unfortunately, that sometimes happens, like, between brands.
Yeah.
And I've had my stuff like shown to Forever 21, for instance, and they've kept something and tried copying it. And it's just like unfortunate that these huge, big business, fast fashion brands like Zara and Forever 21 just like rip off younger independent designers and have no like regard for like what they're doing. So like that's really frustrating. So that's probably my least favorite, I would say. Yeah.
How do you cope with stress and obstacles in your pursuit of your craft?
I mean, that's a good question. I do meditate.
Yeah.
I love meditation. Sometimes you just need to listen to music. Music is definitely an outlet for myself. So like when I need to like just phase everything out, just put on some good music. But meditation's amazing, and you're always gonna have obstacles. Like the fashion industry is really difficult, and you have to be really strong. So if you're gonna be stressed out for every single thing that you encounter, like you're just gonna crash and burn. So most of the times I just try to whatever, like let's solve a problem or let's like figure this out more than stressing about whatever is happening, and like so that's just kind of been my mentality.
Yeah.
And it's served me well. Because a lot of shit can go wrong.
I can imagine, yeah. So do you ever get like creative block?
Yeah, I'm like all about my environment.
Yeah.
So if I'm like not in a good mood, or like I don't like where I am, or the people are bothering me, I can't design. Like I tried to, because I have obviously deadlines and I know I need to do certain things. So I'll try to do it, and I'll sit down and I'm like, you can't just force creativity out sometimes, not if you want to do something good.
So how do you deal with that when that happens? How do you get past it?
I usually just have to distract myself by doing something else, so that I'm like out of my funk, and then all of a sudden like I start just feeling like some ideas start trickling in. I don't know, it's weird to describe, but all of a sudden things just flow. And but yeah, when you're blocked, it's just you got to distract yourself from whatever is blocking you, and or go to like a really inspiring place, take a walk outside, take a fresh air, and just kind of clear your mind, and then come back to it. And I need to be alone, I realize, like to create the best, or to have one person who is kind of like my muse, and they know like one of my best friends is like this, and she can come over and she can sit on the couch and do whatever she wants on her phone while I'm working, and like we don't bother each other, but like having some energy in the room sometimes feeds me into like it helps. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. We've talked about a bunch of things already, but do you have any advice for people who want to start out in fashion?
I think that like a lot of people want to have their own brand, and I think that's like really commendable, and I think that's probably the end goal for a lot of designers. But there's a lot of aspects that you have to take into consideration when like launching a brand, and it's not just having cool clothing or a cool design. It's like there's a business too, and in the reality is if you're not making money, some sort of profit, then you can't turn it into a living. So I would tell like most people to go and get a good first job in the fashion industry and really learn A to Z, like all the facets, because I was the kind of person that I was like, I want to launch my own line. Obviously I did it at 16, so I moved to LA and I was like, I'm going to launch my line right away, and I launched my line the second week of school, and I started selling it in boutiques, and it was great. So I was doing stuff, but I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes. But if I had worked for a brand or maybe interned, I could have possibly pre-learned those mistakes through other people's money.
Yeah.
So it's been really great because I've experienced it, and because of that, I know so much more, you know.
Yeah.
But I would tell people that, like, yes, for sure, you want to have your own brand. That's amazing. Go and work for someone, see what it's like doing that, and then you're able to kind of like take what you've learned and merge it and really apply it to what you want to do, and hopefully turn it into a success.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're at the point where I'm gonna say, how can people find out more about you?
I have an Instagram.
He has an Instagram.
So I have an Instagram. It's at Reese De Luca. I also have a website, reesedeluca.com.
We'll have links to all this in the description.
I guess watch that space, because like I do have some new ideas, and I have been thinking about new projects and stuff. So like I definitely feel like some new things are coming on. But yeah, I think my Instagram and my website are probably like the best places to learn about me.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Reese.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm Angela. It's been Everyday Expertise. Bye. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this interview. Be sure to share this video with friends and colleagues who may also enjoy this topic. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below, or check the description for our social media. See you next time.